From the hood champion boxing and sports. Boxing, you find a way to win or find a way to lose. Tyson Fury is going on the record and he's talking a little bit about Deontay Wilder. And, there's a word that floats around in boxing, the word delusional, right? And Tyson Fury feels that it's a shame that him and Deontay Wilder can't come together and be friends. My thing is this, right? Under normal circumstances, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, under normal circumstances, I just believe under normal circumstances, Deontay Wilder is a guy, although it may hurt his pride, but if he loses what he feels is fairly, he'd have no problem being like, this person was the better man. I really feel like that. But the circumstances with Deontay Wilder and Fury, they're not normal. And Tyson Fury has reached out to Deontay Wilder. And Tyson Fury is saying things like, nothing negative, all right? He speaks very respectfully when it comes to Deontay Wilder, and almost like he's hurt inside that Deontay Wilder still holds a grudge against him. Tyson Fury, I remember seeing the tweet, and the reason I'm bringing it up because Fury just a couple days ago said this, where he said he wished Deontay Wilder a happy birthday. He said he didn't hear nothing from him. Now, for me, I'm not surprised at that. I think 95% of us who follow boxing and follow the Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, the trilogy, the saga, the drama, I think 95% of us are not surprised that Deontay Wilder didn't respond to him. Deontay Wilder, he's not that kind of person. If he feels like you did something wrong to him, he's not gonna sit there and just come and shake your hand and wanna be buddies. You can call that poor sportsmanship if you want. This is where you see like the boxing community gets divided, because half the people are gonna say, okay, the third fight should have cleared everything up. He lost. Stop being a sore loser. The other half is gonna say, it doesn't matter. He can do what the hell he wants. The man cheated in the second fight, and even if he fought the third fight cleanly, he still cheated him. He still dented his head. He still had the gloves and all this other crap. So like that conversation is never gonna go away. That is gonna be an ongoing conversation 20, 30 years down the road. What happened in that second fight? But when you look at Tyson Fury and him, what it seems that he genuinely doesn't understand why Deontay Wilder doesn't want to speak to him. So could that be because Tyson Fury knows in his heart he didn't do anything wrong? Could that be the case? Now, I remember before the second fight, I remember when they were in the dressing rooms. I know Jay Diaz went in there and saw the gloves wrapped. I know that. But then Tyson Fury puts the towel over the camera. And they say that's when he manipulated gloves or whatever he did. Punched the wall, whatever he did to break him in. But maybe that was a little gamesmanship on his side. And I know he's come out and he's talked about it, but I think at some point, because this is what's going to happen, man. History repeats itself. This conversation, at some point in time, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are going to have a conversation. And there'll probably be a camera involved. They'll probably get paid big money to sit down and just address the second fight. And at that point, Tyson Fury is going to say what he says, Deontay Wilder is. But what I'd be interested in hearing a couple years down the road when they revisit this issue, why they put that towel over the camera. See that? Now, if that was just gamesmanship, mind games on Tyson Fury's part, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now, if he didn't do anything illegal, then that was brilliant. But with all the fallout, I'm sure if there was nothing foul done, but all of these rumors came out and he had put that towel up there, I know he regrets putting that towel up there. Because it's almost confirmation that he was hiding something by doing that. You see, if he really didn't do anything wrong, and putting that towel, having that towel to cover the camera was just part of gamesmanship, was just mind games, I'm sure he regrets it. But at the same time, if he put that towel up there to cover up whatever the hell's going on in the dressing room, to just try to make sure that nobody could see what he was doing, to conceal his rule breaking, I'm sure he's glad he put that towel up there, because all this other stuff came out, but can't be proved. And he did a good job on masking it by covering up that camera. I personally, I don't know. I deal with facts, man. So there's been no facts. Deontay Wilder said there's no facts. So I think that's why Tyson Fury feels like Deontay Wilder should speak to him. He even went as far as to invite Deontay Wilder out to Florida. This is after the third fight. Because Tyson Fury figures, okay, the air is clear, I beat him. It is what it is. Should be no hard feelings. Nah, it doesn't work like that. And even I'm not like that. I'll be honest with you. I'm not coming to Florida. I'm not hanging out with you and spending time around your family and kids like you. And I feel a kind of way towards you. That my energy is gonna just disrupt everything. Everyone's gonna be uncomfortable. Your wife, everyone. It's not that I want to come out there and be disrespectful to someone. It's just I can't be fake. Deontay Wilder can't be fake. Tyson Fury, I don't think he's a fake person. But that's where it says, how can you have, if he did, right? How can you have knowingly cheated, let's say in 2 of the 3 fights, come back clean, win the third fight, and then think that someone's going to forget about what happened in the past and we're just going to all kumbaya? And not many people are built like that. It takes a very strong, resilient person to just forgive and forget. That to me is the equivalent of forgiving the murderer of a loved one. When I see these people in courtrooms and I'm praying for you, I've forgiven you in my heart, and then to even see some people go and hug the murderer, crying for him, man, get out of here with that, man. Crazy. Tyson Fury's no murderer. But I can only imagine the feelings that Deontay Wilder must still harbor inside him if he really feels, or if there's some kind of proof somewhere, he just doesn't want to go out there and put it out there, or whatever the story is, right? There's some people are saying, oh, there's videos about the FBI, and man, if there was something out there, that shit would be on TMZ. That would be breaking news. If there was some real, legit evidence of that happening, that would be all over the place. All over the place. Not just on somebody's YouTube channel who's throwing crap out there to get views and get some of you guys who aren't the brightest crayon in the box buying into whatever somebody says, okay? But Tyson Fury feels that after all those hard fights, which those fights were hard, they were hard on both of them, physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. Those fights were very hard on them. Hard on their families, man. It's like secondhand smoke. I'm the one smoking, but if I blow that out, everyone around me is getting hit with that, man. Everyone gets damaged, adverse health effects as a result of my foolishness and smoking. So when these guys get in the ring, fighting and punching each other. It's that secondhand smoke, man, going around, man, affecting all their friends and family and fans and everyone else because people are going through that with them. They're not in there getting physically hit, but they're going through those punches with them. Like Angel Garcia said about Danny Garcia. I'm in there with them. I'm going through it with them. And that's what happens to friends and family and people who are close to these guys. They go through the motions too. So at this point, I just don't think Deontay Wilder is ever going to, well, I don't think in the next year, he's going to come and say anything to Fury to try to make amends and become friends. I know Deontay Wilder has it in his heart to do that, but he's going to do it when he's right. He's going to do it when he feels he has some resolution to things. He has peace of mind. Deontay Wilder is not a spiteful, hateful person. Okay, we're not talking about the bronze bomber and I want a body on my record. We're talking about Deontay Wilder. And neither is Tyson Fury. Those guys have really good hearts, man. But Deontay Wilder has to go through his emotions, man. He has to figure it out. He's got to figure it out because trust me, I know he watched the fight. Impossible for me to believe Deontay Wilder didn't watch Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. I'm sure he was sitting back laughing at Dillian Whyte getting knocked out because Dillian Whyte has said so many horrible things about Deontay Wilder. They've gone back and forth, but Dillian Whyte is extremely vocal, and I am sure Deontay Wilder watched that and was laughing. But as far as he and Tyson Fury coming together, I just don't see that happening anytime soon. Not at all. And Deontay Wilder has actually, to me, done the right thing to just not say anything. It's like leading up into that third fight. Deontay Wilder was, to me, he had the upper hand until he started talking. He was cool when he wasn't saying anything. A lot of people complain, oh, poor sportsmanship, he's a bum, sore loser, he's not helping to promote the fight. Didn't need him to talk to promote the fight. But him resurfacing and showing he had a new trainer and showing what he was working on and showing that he was trying to bench press 315 pounds, even though he didn't really push that weight up. And his form was horrible, but I mean, you know, it is what it is. All of that, I think, was a disadvantage for him because it kind of gave a peek behind his tent flaps to see what the hell he had going on. And then when he started talking and with blaming him and all of this, and that just, the media took it and ran with it, man, you know, and I just think that didn't help him. But I think he learned from that, and he just sits back now and just relaxing. And when he does come out to talk, I think it's gonna be a lot of anticipation, and I think he's gonna duck a lot of those questions. I think if he decides to come back and fight, he don't want to dwell on the past. I think he'll come back and say it is what it is, and he'll be like, next question. And if anyone keeps asking the same thing, he'll just dead them right there on the spot and be like, if you're gonna keep asking those questions, I'm just not gonna If you're going to keep asking those questions, I'm just not going to respond. That's what I think is going to happen. Look, the video skipped a little bit, so I apologize for that. But do you guys think Deontay Wilder should just let it go? And he and Tyson Fury get together and start hanging out and kumbaya and barbecuing together and having the families get together and the kids play? I think under any other circumstances, Deontay Wilder wouldn't have an issue with that. But it's just too many question marks, man. Too many unknowns, too many what ifs. It's just too much surrounding that union between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Too much going on. And now you got the whole thing with the Kinahan. I'm sure Deontay Wilder sitting there in Tuscaloosa saying, I told you. I'm sure. See, that's what I would like to hear. If you want to get the internet buzzing, Deontay Wilder come out and talk about what he thinks about this guy Kinahan and Tyson Fury and the mob being involved. Boy, these YouTubers will go crazy throwing stuff out, throwing video. They'd probably do 1,000 videos over that same topic. And they would get, millions and millions of views. But I don't know, man. What's your 2 cents? What do you think? You think they should come back and shake hands and kumbaya? They did have a lot of hard fights. Tyson Fury feels that they should love each other. But I just don't think I could do it either. If you go out there and you get into a fight with somebody, I don't know how many of y'all have ever had a fight in school or a street getting a fight. Just any kind of fight, not boxing, but like a street fight. There's a certain respect you and that person develop for each other, no matter what happens in the fight. And there are people around who respect, especially if you stand up for yourself. People, you may not be the best fighter, but people will leave you alone. But like, hey, he or she will fight. Leave them alone. They'll respect that. But when you don't stand up for yourself and everything, and especially if it's 2 guys letting their hands go and one person just get the best of them, people respect that. Yeah, people that make jokes, and there's always those weak humans in the room and weak humans in the crowd who wouldn't dare get in there and fight at all, but they'll sit back, man, and make fun of you all day. But people respect that. And those guys who fight each other, especially if they fight 2 or 3 times, at some point, man, they come together, man, and there's a respect there. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I think these guys would have. But if I would have been in a street fight with somebody and this guy we're fighting and all of a sudden, I don't realize that he gets some brass knuckles or picks up a bottle and hits me in the head or face or something, some equalizer. And then I see him later and he wants to kumbaya and be friends. They're like, nah, man. Even if I didn't see somebody slip him whatever he had in his hand to hit me with it, I just know something isn't right. No, it's not going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. And I can't blame Deontay Wilder. A fair one, whatever. Still not going to be all, super okay, but you tend to respect each other. Okay, it is what it is. But when you start talking about people cheating, they get an advantage. And once that sets into your mind, it's hard, man. It's hard to come and just think you're going to kumbaya with somebody. I think it's unrealistic for Tyson Fury to expect Deontay Wilder, especially. It's still kind of fresh. It's just this is never going to go away. He can't quite get comfortable and get beyond it because of the internet. And I'm no help. I'm doing a video on it, but I'm more or less talking about Deontay Wilder, and I think he's justified to feel how he feels. I think Tyson Fury is justified to feel how he feels. This is one of those situations where I just wish there was a way to just figure out or just prove that Tyson Fury didn't do anything. If we can just prove that, erase the doubt, or we can just prove that he was guilty and confirm that the doubt should be there. But there's not. So as a result, there's this big gray area, and it's always going to be like that unless there's some kind of proof or somebody comes out like Tyson Fury and says, I'm guilty. Right? Which that is not going to happen because he already made a joke about that. But I don't know, man. I guess we'll see what's next for the Bronze Bomber. Tyson Fury look like he's out of here, but Deontay Wilder comes back. Those are going to be questions asked to him about how he's feeling. Tyson Fury, he's never going to be able to escape that conversation. He's going to have to figure it out. And like I say it all the time. I've said it in several videos. You can't leave your mind behind. And I would like to see these 2 guys come together, man, and sit down and talk and be amicable. Because when you look at Sugar Ray Leonard, you look at Hearns, you look at Roberto Duran, and when you see them guys sitting around talking and laughing, they're a lot older now, and they can respect what each other brought to the table and their quality as fighters. But in none of those fights was anything too extreme that happened about cheating, anything like that. Roberto Duran, cuss, would spit, disrespect your spouse. Roberto Duran was a little bit flagrant back in the day, but and real rough in the ring. But nothing with this whole cheating and people saying in sparring that, this person was doing this, and, it's, I think if those things would have happened, I don't think those guys would be sitting around talking and kumbaya like they're able to do now. I just don't think so. That's like expecting Miguel Cotto and Antonio Margarito to sit down and drink a cup of tea together, a cup of coffee together. Like that, that's never gonna happen. Because there's no proof that he cheated up with Miguel Cotto, right? But something was definitely wrong in that fight. And when you look at those raps that when they pulled off of him in the Mosley fight, when they pulled off Margarito there, and you look at the ones that took off in the Cotto fight, you do see that little bit of pink-red color, which is the same thing on both raps. You do see that crack in those hand wraps. So there's no proof, but something was there, and it's enough to make Miguel Cotto have doubt as far as Antonio Margarito being fair in that fight. And he's gonna feel the way he feels the rest of his life. And that's, I kind of think, is the same situation here with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. The doubt is real. He feels something's there. When you look at those floppy gloves and you just watch what's going on in the ring, and like I said, I don't deal with the whole, unless it's something definitive, I don't mess with it. But I will say those gloves look a little funky, man. But you gotta understand that. That'll be like, Billy Collins, and Louis Resto, man. You remember, Resto wanted to go talk to his dad and had the reporter, and they wanted to go and just tell him your dad's sorry or whatever. Man, his dad wasn't trying to hear that. His son killed himself, man. You never want to talk to them guys, man, Same thing, man. And then the guy was cheating in that one. They caught him in the ring. Imagine if they would have done that with Fury. And I understand Fury and the thing about his gloves before, and those are things you gotta really look at, people. You really do. I mean, I get it. It's just frustrating when there's no proof there. But I could definitely understand why he feels the way he feels. But Tyson Fury's got to, I think, come to the reality that, hey, look, how would you feel if you were in that position? It is what it is. But I don't think Deontay Wilder's being a sore loser. I feel the same way if I was in that position. Too many unknowns, man. Dent in your skull and all that. Too many unknowns. I don't think I would ever be comfortable sitting around this person, especially around their family. And I'm not going to go disrespect someone's wife, especially children. Children are the best thing ever that can happen to you. I would never go do that. So, and I wouldn't tell him that either. I just, through my actions, he would just figure it out. The man don't want to talk to me. Because I don't want to have the back and forth, So you can't fault Deontay Wilder, man. Anybody faulting Deontay Wilder, y'all need to reassess, man. And maybe you guys have a bit more, God in you than I do. And maybe that's what can pay to forgive, like these people who had these people murdering their loved ones and go and hug them in court and all that crap. Not over here, and definitely not from Deontay Wilder. But I do hope that he comes out, man, and comes back to fight, and we can get some more out of him as far as his fights and entertainment. He's an amazing fighter. People have their opinions on things. I think Tyson Fury is an amazing fighter. But I just think it's sad that all this controversy surrounds these guys, because the two of them for this era are just amazing, and they're going to go down in the history books as amazing fighters. But it's also going to always have that dark cloud kind of hovering over their three fights. And, was there cheating, was there not? There's always going to be a bunch of people with opinions. And that's unfortunate, man. It's really unfortunate. And there'll never be any resolution on it. But anyway, man, that's my 2 cents on Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, the fact that Deontay Wilder refuses to talk to him till this day. And but I understand. But I do hope at some point they can get beyond it, because that's a part of the healing process, and that's more important than anything. But Deontay Wilder seems to be just fine. They're living a pretty good life in Tuscaloosa, and Tyson Fury seems to be doing just fine as well. But when you fight hard, savage fights like that with somebody, you would want to sit back at some point and talk and relive it, and you know, just laugh about it as you get a bit older. But I don't think that'll ever happen with these two. But if it does, I'll applaud them both. But right now, I just don't see it happening. Anyway, y'all take care. Thanks for the support. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to all the veterans, and I'm in the breeze.